As usual, I'm late to the party. A couple of days ago, news broke that EA would be laying off some 350 employees and closing down one studio, and it didn't take long for the speculation to start. A couple of people asked me if I thought it was going to be BioWare, since 350 is roughly the size of BioWare's whole operation, give or take a few. But the answer to that is a firm no. It is not in fact BioWare, even though, as far as I can gather, Anthem has performed terribly and continues to exist as a revolving door of controversy and errors. The employees laid off will be from the marketing and publishing departments spread throughout the company, and therein lies an interesting conclusion to draw. I recently did a video regarding Apex Legends and how it brute forced its way into the public spotlight by creating a sort of global gaming event centered around its own launch, in which players really could not escape the game. Apex Legends adopted an extremely aggressive approach to influencer marketing, and by influencer I just mean people that have a very large social reach, primarily in this case Twitch streamers. There was a notable lack of pre-release marketing. The current industry norm is a heavy emphasis on lead-up marketing through a variety of different sources. Puff up a game with some fabricated trailer at E3, shove it down the community's throats over and over for months on end before launch day, and butter up 50 different editions with worthless little gimmicks to spike the pre-orders. Apex Legends didn't do that. There are a bunch of reasons why, ranging from subject matter to surrounding circumstance, but mostly I believe it was a new approach which attempted to subvert existing marketing strategies in favor of a cheaper, lower maintenance, but harder hitting result that could be executed in a fraction of the time. Long story short, it worked, and it worked perfectly. Apex Legends kicked into motion a self-fulfilling cycle of social pressure to both play and enjoy the game, and that cycle is still in full motion. That's not the only thing that Apex Legends did, though. The second thing it did was sell almost $100 million worth of microtransactions in the first 30 days. Compare that to something like Anthem, a game that also made roughly $100 million in revenue from its first month, and you can see one game that had a massive development time with an enormous marketing budget that didn't even really outperform a free-to-play title that had a tiny fraction of the development time and resources while simultaneously executing a cheaper yet infinitely more effective marketing campaign. Microtransactions and influencer marketing are low cost, high yield. The microtransaction skins being sold by a game like Apex Legends or Fortnite, or even now games like Call of Duty and Division 2, these cosmetics are extremely low cost to make and provide more consistent income with a higher profit margin. Likewise, the marketing angle has shifted as well. What used to be a huge physical marketing push, and still is to some degree, but seems to be mostly executed by the slow members of the industrial herd, if you know what I mean, the landscape has now started to shift towards prioritization of pre-existing social channels with large followings. Why would you pay $10,000 to have your advertisement put on a Cheez-It box and reach a bunch of people who don't care at all about your game, while once in a while reaching a few that do, when you could split that down and hire 10 perfectly relevant gaming news, commentary, or guide channels to cover your game with a combined reach in the millions, and that entire reach is within the proper demographic that is likely to purchase or try out your product or game? Keep in mind now, this next part is speculation, but this is the reason I believe we are seeing a swath of layoffs occur at EA. The higher level EA executive teams have now realized this shift, and as a result are purging a subset of jobs within their marketing and publishing departments that are redundant because of this new focus. It's been known for a while now that changes were coming. Kotaku reported on information that EA employees had been asked to freeze hiring and travel for a number of months, specifically within the marketing departments. The staff were aware something was coming, and this is now the execution of what was a slow-building potential maneuver. It's not like anyone needs to be reminded of how callous and horrible EA is, but even so, this is the statement put forth by Andrew Wilson, CEO of Electronic Arts, and one of the most overpaid men on the planet. Today, we took some important steps as a company to address our challenges and prepare for the opportunities ahead. As we look across a changing world around us, it's clear that we must change with it. We're making deliberate moves to better deliver on our commitments, refine our organization, and meet the needs of our players. As part of this, we have made changes to our marketing and publishing organization, our operations teams, and we are ramping down our current presence in Japan and Russia as we focus on different ways to serve our players in those markets. In addition to organizational changes, we are deeply focused on increasing quality of our games and services. Great games will continue to be at the core of everything we do, and we are thinking differently about how to amaze and inspire our players. This is a difficult day. The changes we're making today will impact about 350 roles in our 9,000 person company. These are important but very hard decisions, and we do not take them lightly. We are friends and colleagues at EA. We appreciate and value everyone's contributions, and we are doing everything we can to ensure we are looking after our people to help them through this period to find their next opportunity. This is our top priority. So first off, CEO Andrew Wilson has likely never met any of these people. I can't say that for a fact, at least not a stone cold fact, but I highly doubt he even knows the name of most, if not all, of the employees let go. Second, the changes will impact about 350 roles. It's just corporate code speak for we are firing 350 people, and this just sounds better, so we're saying it that way. And third, his constant emphasis on changing times and adapting to new circumstances appears to further reaffirm the speculation that this is an overhaul of outdated and now obsolete marketing procedures. Side note, if you replace the word great in that paragraph with greedy, it only changes one single sentence, and that sentence turns from great games will continue to be at the core of everything we do to greedy games will be at the core of everything that we do, which I thought was hilarious. Andrew, my man, you got a typo in your message there, dude, but don't worry, we got you covered, we caught it, it's actually greedy, not great. Companies are required to cut costs and streamline operations. The problem is, this obligation seems to have some very strict and unevenly enforced parameters. Not too long ago, Activision Blizzard laid off some 800 employees after revealing record financials for the 2018 fiscal year. With numbers that strong, it begs the question why these employees had to be let go. Well, there are a number of explanations. First, it could be a move to trim fat before a very weak 2019 profit report, which could easily be the case seeing how light the release cycle for Activision Blizzard is going to be. Second, it could have had, and did have, a lot to do with the split between Activision and Bungie, in which Bungie maintained the rights to the Destiny IP, which rendered some positions at Activision Blizzard irrelevant. There are more speculative reasons as well, but moving ahead here, why are these employees laid off in an effort to increase bottom line earnings while a CFO is assuming his post with a $15 million enrichment package? And, a lesser known fact, it is his second stint in the position. He is essentially getting a fulfillment bundle of stock options and cash bonuses large enough to award every single laid off employee with a $20,000 salary for a full year, just to reassume his once held post. Obviously, that's not an incredibly high salary for the workers, but why is one area of the company considered entirely expendable while the high-ranking executives rake in ever-expanding bonuses? These practices run in direct contrast with the fiduciary responsibility to shareholders with regards to the company's bottom line. Cutting that CEO's or CFO's enrichment package also impacts their report, but that's not the direction they choose to go. Large game publishers are in a bubble. Yes, they are incredibly profitable right now, but this latest firing spree indicates to me that they have found yet another tactic to cut costs while increasing marketing and advertising yield on a pound for pound or dollar for dollar basis. But bubbles that are obligated to expand in perpetuity inevitably burst and collapse. It's a historically tested certainty within the confines of all existing free market experiments. Eventually, EA, Activision Blizzard, Bethesda, Take-Two Interactive, and many more will come crashing down because despite their success at making money hand over fist, they aren't making all of the money. And if they don't make all of the money, it's failure by default. We have already seen signs indicative of an unstable growth pattern. Massive corrections based off of largely uninteresting or unsurprising quarterly reports. Huge downturns in market share specific to the underperformance of a single game. Mass layoffs occurring to stabilize investor nerves in preparation for a yearly report that might not be a consecutive annual all-time high. The whole system is fragile, exceedingly fragile, and the problem is exacerbated by the disregard for consumer well-being and public relations optics. EA laid off some 350 workers in what is likely a financially beneficial move for them. Beneficial in the sense of enhancing their integral prime directive of earn as much money as we can at all times no matter what. They have now found alternative marketing strategies which will become increasingly prominent, but this trend of developer or worker layoffs is likely just getting started now. It is my belief, again, here is some speculation, that more publishers will soon enact similar strategies as a sort of triage tactic while they stave off market corrections, which, because of current expectations, are not just corrections, but pretty much a full-blown cataclysmic event for them. As more companies react to the shift from analog to digital marketing, and especially an influx of influencer marketing campaigns, there will probably be more layoffs by different developers and publishers across the globe as they make these radical changes and they trim the fat or they redefine expectations to keep up with the times, insert corporate speak here, whatever it is. Anyways, EA laid off some 350 people and mostly didn't even call them people, just referred to them as roles. And on a surface level, we can say EA bad and EA not good, but it's important to try and extrapolate on a deeper level why they do these things, because it's a long established pattern that will only really begin to shift when the broader consumer market at large is fully aware and cognizant of the factors involved. That's it though. If you want to support the channel, check out the links down below. We have various different gaming communities, social spaces, merchandise, and more. But I'll cut it there and stop rambling. As always, thank you all for watching, and have a nice night.